Ladies and gentlemen and ladies and gents, I know you guys are getting tired of Leo, but I mean, what can I say? Okay, I like Leo. I like this song. This song brings back a ton of memories, and it was well done. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sayer, and more than I can say, and he's going to be playing in my background because what I'm about to explain to you guys, I want you guys to go back and listen. Go back and pay attention that nobody else is bringing out the information you're about to hear. Hey, Mr. Leo, nah, YouTube ain't letting you play. And because they ain't letting you play, we're gonna stop you. We're gonna go ahead and stop them, ladies and gentlemen, because we're gonna get into the conversation. There's a lot we need to talk about. First, most of the information that we're talking about can be found here at the PDF section of SATCOM's website. All you got to do is go under an understanding. First folder, an understanding. Then you can click in the folders after that and see all the other documents that talk about an understanding. Okay? Pay attention. The very first one is 13 Stat 99, the National Currency Act, 12 USC. I had somebody email and say they couldn't find Section 401, subsection 18, paragraph number 6. Imagine that. Now, how is that possible when we've taken the time to put it up here for free for everybody and their grandfather? We put information up, they delete it. We put it back up, they delete it. We put it back up, they delete it. Don't worry about it. We'll continue to do it. The one thing that you guys don't understand, and I'm going to say it because it's the truth, absolute 100% positively, doodly true. Y'all don't understand the law. So let me explain to you what the law is in the United States. First, the law is the Constitution for the United States of America. The Northwest Ordinance, the Confederacy. You guys know that, right? The Articles of the Confederacy. Those are laws of the United States. That's why one led to the next. By the way, do your research and find out there's no such thing as a constitutional amendment. As they're articles. I've been saying that for years too. They're articles, everybody. They're not constitutional amendments. They're articles of the Constitution. That junk that Congress did, they call that junk articles. Those are not the articles of the Constitution. Please don't do that to yourselves. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, now, again, I want you to pay attention so that you can see what's going on here in the background. The very first one, 13 Stat 99. So that's the 13th statute at large, page 99. This document is not titled that. Okay, this is a separate document talking about the same thing, taken from the same title. There is Title 4, Section 401. The sixth paragraph of Section 18 of the Federal Reserve Act is amended to read as follows. Upon deposit with the Treasurer of the United States, A, of any direct obligation of the United States, or B, of any notes. Now, the Supreme Court has a case where they said that an individual has to argue that any notes didn't refer to the Securities Exchange Act. Well, I can argue it's right here in this act, or any bill of exchange. Now, why am I highlighting bill of exchange before I go on? Well, let me show you something. The Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, y'all heard of them? Oh no, this is remittances. I don't want to be at remittances. What I want to be at is right here. Bills of exchange. A bill of exchange or registered bill of exchange. Man, I just wonder if you guys have ever done the research that I suggested you do on a registered bill of exchange. Is received from a taxpayer authorizing the campus to settle their account through FedWire. Send everything received to the following address. Everything. Why aren't y'all following the rules? These are their rules. They're not mine. I didn't make this junk up. But let's talk about these bills of exchanges and these any notes. Acquired under the provisions of this Act, any Federal Reserve Bank, that includes you, that's been the case from the very beginning since they made the Act. It was always including everyone else. That's why the first thing the president did was define what a banking institution was. Anyone engaged in the business of banking. So when you're getting a loan, when you're doing any commercial transaction, whether it's consumer credit or anything, that is banking business. Now pay attention. Bills of exchange, bankers' acceptances acquired under the provisions of this Act, any Federal Reserve Bank making such a deposit in the manner prescribed by the Secretary of the Treasury shall be entitled to receive from the Comptroller of the Currency circulating notes in blank, duly registered and countersigned. And when such circulating notes are issued against securities obligations of the United States, the amount of such circulating notes shall be equal to the value of such direct obligations of the United States so deposited as security. Ladies and gentlemen, you're always depositing it as securities. Where do you think security deposits come from? Hello. Well, let's continue if you don't mind. And when issued against the securities of notes, drafts, bills of exchange, bankers' acceptances acquired under provisions of this Act, the amount thereof shall be equal to not more than 90% of the estimated value of such notes, drafts, bills of exchange, bankers' acceptances. This is paragraph number 6, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's go to section 403 because 403, oh no, 403 is not here. Section 403 of the Federal Reserve Act is amended to read as follows by adding the following to the last paragraph. Subject to limitations, restrictions, regulations of the Federal Reserve Board may prescribe any Federal Reserve Bank that includes you may make advances to any individual, including your friend, your mother, your grandmother, your uncle, cousin, niece, nephew. Pay attention. As long as it's banking business, any individual, partnership, or corporation on the promissory notes of such individuals, partnerships, or corporations secured by direct obligation of the United States. Well, your promissory note, when deposited with the Federal Reserve Bank, is a direct obligation of the United States. Why is that? How do we come to that conclusion? Well, we come to that conclusion quite simply and quite easily by coming back up here and reading what it says. Such notes shall be obligations of the Federal Reserve Bank procuring the same, and shall be in the form prescribed by the United States Treasury, and shall be receivable at par in all parts of the United States for the same purposes as national banknotes, which is legal tender. That means your promissory note, when you deposited with the Federal Reserve, that was legal tender. Don't take my word for it. Go back and read the act. Again, if there's some idiot out there who claims they know more about this than I do, then by all means let them step up because I don't think so. Your promissory note is legal tender for the same purposes as national banknotes are. And they are to be presented to the United States Treasury or the bank of issue. You can go ahead and gift that to the United States Treasury, but you can gift it to their agent. What do you mean their agent? When required to do so by the Secretary of the Treasury, each Federal Reserve agent shall act as an agent of the Treasury of the United States or the Comptroller of the Currency. So when you're depositing it with the agent, the so-called banking institution, is as if you're depositing it with the Treasury of the United States, and it becomes an obligation of the United States, just like it said up here. Pay attention. I'm sorry that people don't understand this stuff. It's right here. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's been here the whole time. It says right here, such notes shall be obligations of the Federal Reserve Bank. So when the Federal Reserve Bank is acting on behalf of the United States Treasury, shall act as agent of the Treasury, then it becomes, pay attention, a government obligation. And so when this is issued against government obligations, Federal Reserve notes are to be issued. Now we have congressional intent. Where do we get congressional intent? Anybody know? Well, we come right here. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong one. Gotta go, not there either. I gotta find the right one. This is it right here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the record of Congress, the congressional record. This tells us what the congressional intent was. What we just read was this section right here. The section that I keep highlighting on video after video after video after video after video after video after video, hoping that somebody will get it. Your promissory notes are currency. How do we know? Let's see what the intent of Congress was. You guys don't mind we take that trip? We're not looking at the PDF in my PDF exchange. That's why it looks different. Uh-oh, went down too far. That's where the president talks about banking institutions and involved in banking business. But we're not concerned about the banking business, ladies and gentlemen. We're concerned about what Congress wrote right here. Hold on. See, uh-oh, went too far. Going back down. Stop it. Stop right there. Oh, went too far. And I don't know why it keeps going so far down. Let's go a little bit more. A little bit more, a little bit more. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Congress is speaking about the new act, and it's speaking about the section dealing with the Federal Reserve Act that we just read, Section 401. Now, if you didn't understand that we were just reading Section 401, let me go ahead and go back up to the top so that you'll get it. Title 4, Section 401, subsection, paragraph 18 of the Federal Reserve Act is amended. So we're talking about the amendment of the Federal Reserve Act only. So now that we have that, pay attention. The third section deals with how banks are to be handled under this authority. What authority? Emergency, emergency, emergency authority. Because that's what we're under right now. There are no real banks right now, so stop talking about the money being this or that because you don't understand what's going on. We've been under emergency provision since 1933. So there is no money, people. It's all emergency script. It's not money. Yes, I sound frustrated because I can't figure out why people can't get this. It's right here in front of you. It says the last section of the bill provides for the issuance of a new money emergency script. It's not just emergency script for you, it's emergency script for the banks too. Your promissory note becomes the backing of Federal Reserve notes. Your promissory note becomes the backing of Federal Reserve notes. How do we know? Because Congress says what their intent was. I refer to Section 401. Pay attention. Subsection 18, paragraph number 6 is what he's reading from. Upon deposit with the Treasury of the United States of all contract obligations of the United States. Now, hold on a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let's go back and read. Upon deposit with the Treasury of the United States, A, of any direct obligation of the United States. It doesn't say contract. That's why we go to the congressional record to find out what was meant by the word, by the penning of the document. So they meant contractual obligations of the United States or any note and so forth. Under the Federal Reserve Act, obligations that are deposited as the security and gold. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Let's continue. It says upon deposit with the Treasury. Whoa. When such circulating notes are issued against the security obligation of the United States. Now pay attention, this is important. Face value of the United States so deposited as security. And when issued of security against the notes draft, the gold. Wait, hold on. Let's see if y'all understand so that y'all get it. When that obligation or deposit as the security and gold for reserve notes that are placed in the hands of the Federal Reserve agent. So let me explain this so that you guys get it. You go to the bank, you apply for a loan. They say, hey, you've been approved. Ladies and gentlemen, all you need to do is sign the promissory note at that point. Why? Because that's the agreement. You didn't know? Well, let's do this. I haven't opened this up, but we're going to open it up now. Get out of here. We're going to open this up right here, and we're going to go 1, 2, USC. That's why the dollar's collapsing, people, because of the system that it was built upon. It was a fraud to begin with. So we're going to go to 12 USC 412. This is very easy. Now, all of these windows are set up for you guys. I did all of that for y'all. Didn't do that for me. I don't need this information. I already know this information. It's the back of my hand. This is 12 USC 412. What is 12 USC 412? Ladies and gentlemen, 12 U.S.C. 412 is section 401, subsection 18, paragraph number 6. That's what 12 U.S.C. What, you didn't know? Well, let me show it to you so that you'll get it, because I know you can't see it, so I'm about to explain it to you. Any Federal Reserve Bank can make an application to the local Federal Reserve agent for such an amount of Federal Reserve notes as hereinbefore provided or for as it may require. That's the lawful money it talks about in paragraph number 6. Such application shall be accompanied with a tender to the local Federal Reserve agent of collateral equal to the sum of Federal Reserve notes thus applied for and issued pursuant to such application. The collateral, look at that, it defines exactly what the tender is and what the collateral is. The collateral security, there you got that security deposit again, thus offered shall be your promissory notes or Federal Reserve notes. Okay? Doesn't have to necessarily be promissory notes. It's any note. Drafts, bills of exchange, and bankers' acceptances, and that's it. Now we know that this doesn't match up, but hold on, we got one more to do that. 1 second. Got to go 2 pages, not one. Got to go to section 414. I'm not concerned about what section 413 says because 413 is not the subject matter of this conversation. So pay attention. The Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve Bank system or Federal Reserve System shall have the right. So it is their right because why? They're acting on behalf of the Treasury. That's why they have the right because it's been granted to them. Acting through the reserve agent. So the reserve agent now acts on behalf of the Federal Reserve Bank, who acts on behalf of the Treasury, to grant in whole or in part, or to reject entirely, the application of any Federal Reserve Bank for Federal Reserve notes. But to the extent, what extent? That such an application is granted by the board. Guess what the board has to do? The Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System must, ain't got no choice, through the local Federal Reserve agent, supply Federal Reserve notes to the bank so applying. You. That's it. That's why all you have to do is send them the promissory note. Once they accept it, once you're approved, they're obligated to give Federal Reserve notes. This is the law, people. Well, you're saying, well, where is this law at? Well, that's what's wrong with y'all? How come y'all don't get it? Now, look, you see this says Public Laws of the 73rd Congress. So this is the Public Law section of the Federal Reserve Act. Okay, this is section 401. So we got to go to title number 4. So right now, we ain't at title number 4. I got to scroll down just a little bit more. That's title 1. I said title number 4. You see, it's playing games with me. Oh, we went down too far. Hold on now. And now I got to go one up. See, I can't tell what page I was on. Oh, that's title 2. That's title 2. Should be title 3. Come on, title 3. That's title 3. And title 4 should be no more at the bottom. There you go. That's title 5. I don't want title 5. I want this title right here because we want section 403. This is where it says that Federal Reserve banks may make advancements to any individual partnership. And then we go up a little bit more. And now we have Title 4, Section 401, Paragraph 18, Federal Reserve Act is amended to read as follows. Okay, now, hold on. This is on the website too. We put notes there for you guys. See, 6, blah, blah, blah. It's the same exact thing, y'all. But we put notes explaining what is. Okay, B? All bye-bye, baby. Now, we're going to go to this one because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the congressional record evidencing what happened in 1913, the original Federal Reserve Act, where that original paragraph is before the amendment on March 9, 1933. That's on the website as well. It's listed as Federal Reserve Act GPO. Okay, then finally, this is section, 59 Stat 237. This is section 412 of Title 12. Got to go up one more, got to go up to the next page. right there. Section 2. It says the second paragraph of Section 16 of the Federal Reserve Act is amended to read as follows. Any bank, any Federal Reserve Bank may make an application to the local Federal Reserve agent for such amount Federal Reserve notes as hereinbefore provided for as it may require. Such application shall be accompanied by a tender to the local Federal Reserve agent and the collateral amount equal to the sum of Federal Reserve note that's applied for and issued pursuant to such application. I read it so many times, it's pathetic. But hold on. Hold on now. Don't y'all misunderstand it. In no event shall the collateral security be less than the amount of Federal Reserve notes applied for. In no event, under absolutely no circumstance, could your promissory note not equal the total value of the loan. Under no circumstance, because they couldn't accept it otherwise. So when you get approved, that means the Truth in Lending Act applies. You keep hearing me talk about the Truth in Lending Act. You keep hearing me talk about the Truth in Lending Act because the Truth in Lending Act, go back and read it, must list all of the financials, all of the interest, everything. And so that's included in the original loan, people. Pay attention. Go back and read the Truth in Lending Act. It says that that's all you would pay. Well, if you've given them the collateral and the collateral is equal to the total amount of the loan, and it says it twice here so that there's no misunderstanding, said it shall be accompanied by a tender, and the tender shall be equal to the amount of the sum of Federal Reserve notes that's applied for, and the Federal Reserve notes that's applied for must be exactly what the promissory note is for. That's it. So once you have done your job, ladies and gentlemen, once you've done your job and tendering the promissory note, and they fail to timely dishonor it, why are you guys arguing with them in the courts? You simply let them know your math is wrong. My promissory note, according to the law, and you send them the law, was collateral and security for the loan. It was tender. Now, until you show me something different, get them out my face. But here's the problem. You guys get afraid. They tell you your junk ain't valued at nothing. It's worthless. Well, according to Congress, it's worth something. What do I mean? Well, it was the intent of Congress that your promissory note should be worth its weight in gold or more. See, under the Federal Reserve Act, obligations that are deposited and secured in gold for the Federal Reserve notes, without you, Federal Reserve notes don't exist. Now, hold on. Now, we done skip something. This provision is for the issuance of Federal Reserve bank notes and not Federal Reserve notes. Oh, snap. And the security backed of it is obligation notes, drafts, bills of exchange, bankers, acceptance is outlined in that section. Man, what about them Federal Reserve bank notes? Where them things at right now? Anybody seen the Federal Reserve bank note? Well, I have. Guess what? Guess where I saw it at? I saw it right here. Uh-oh, went too far. Gotta stop that. Gotta go to section number 3. Now this is 238 stat 59 stat 238 section 3. Pay attention. All the power and authority with respect to the issuance of circulating notes, as spoken of, as known in the Federal Reserve, as known as Federal Reserve bank notes. Circulating notes were Federal Reserve bank notes. Circulating notes were Federal Reserve bank notes. Pursuant to the 6th paragraph of Section 18 of the Federal Reserve Act, as amended by Section 401 of the Act approved March 9, 1933, 48 Stat 1 and 6. 48 Stat 1 and 6. Ladies and gentlemen, 48 Stat 6. Okay? 48 Stat 6. That's where we is. 48 Stat 6. March 6, 1933 was the proclamation by the President. So now that we gotten that taken care of, let's go on back here. It says, shall cease and terminate on the date of this act. So as of June 12, 1945, circulating notes were no longer at par with Federal Reserve notes. Pay attention so that you get it. As of June 12, 1945, it is now Federal Reserve notes and not Federal Reserve bank notes. Federal Reserve bank notes are no longer used as circulating notes. Federal Reserve notes are used as circulating notes at present. Now, how does this help any of you with anything? You have already seen how the Internal Revenue Service, right here, Right here, I keep skipping. The Internal Revenue Service, through its manuals, accepts promissory notes. Excuse me, bills of exchange, not promissory notes. They have a policy where they will not accept your promissory note. They say your promissory note is no good. Congress says it is good. Congress says that your promissory note is worth something. I didn't say that. They said it. They said any notes shall be, when deposited as security and gold, placed in the hands of the Federal Reserve agent. Well, each one of you who purchase a home, a car, or a student loan, this is what you do. I can't tell you what our strategy is. I can't tell you what we're getting ready to do, but I guarantee you we're getting ready to do it. I cannot tell you what our strategy is, but I can tell you whatever it is, we're getting ready to do it. You all have not been standing your ground. That's why you're losing ground, because you're bringing the wrong arguments. Why are you guys using those stupid codes? Those codes are not law. Pay attention. I want y'all to understand something, because I don't think y'all understand. I want you to, as we've done before, pay attention right here. See, there's no 13 or 12 USC or 100 A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The United States Code, when the original Federal Reserve Act was written, they didn't have no US code. Do y'all understand that? Let's go over here to this one. This one will talk about US code all day long. Here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen, so that y'all can understand, because y'all just don't understand. Let me show y'all something. This says section 13. Now this is section 2 of Title 16 of the Federal Reserve Act. So paragraph 2 of section 16 of the Federal Reserve Act. So let's go back to paragraph 2 of section 16. 1, 2. This is paragraph 2 of section 16. You won't even see the number 13 anywhere in here. Hold on, let's go back here so you can see. See, any Federal Reserve Bank, any Federal Reserve Bank. 13, 14. See, 14 once, 14 twice, 13, I think it might be 14 one more time. Nope, no more 14s. So 2 14s and a 13. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, then this was not written by Congress. Because this has 92, 342, 348, 361, 352, 373. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not written by Congress. So this is not law. So use the law and stop using that prima facie junk. Use the law. Now, did you know that the IRS accepts remittances? Have you guys looked up what a remittance is? See, remittance, Form 809, and designated payments. See, field collection procedure. Go and find out what a remittance. Study it first before you start using it second. Okay, study it first. Understand what it is. So, we're going to minimize all of this junk. I am transferring files while I stop transferring there, but you see, that's 4 hours that's going to take. Let me do y'all a favor so that y'all get it, because I know some of y'all are having a hard time getting it. When you and I and our grandparents and our parents allowed the government to control money, remember, as I said, you need to pay attention. Go back and do your research. The original Constitution was not written with amendments. It was articles, that the articles were amended and the people ratified it in 1792. The people ratified the articles, and because they amended the previous articles, they were referred to as amendments, but they're actually articles. Go and do your research. So when the people allowed Congress to have jurisdiction over their funds, over their finances, over their monies, and yes, Congress gave them no choice because the Supreme Court backed their play, and they were right. Congress could rename what gold was, and that's what they did. That made it from that point on to this present day. It hasn't changed because we're still underneath that act. that when you write a promissory note, that is legal tender. Say what? Because it's used for the same purposes as national banknotes. National banknotes, do your research, are legal tender. What is legal tender? Anything that's used as a form of payment that is authorized by Congress. You don't believe me? We got one more thing we're going to do. Because I done showed it to y'all. I just don't feel like pulling up my PDF. I'm going to do it this way, the same way y'all got to do it. So what I's doing is I think I's opening up another window. There we go. And we're going to do joint resolution, comma, June 5th, 1933. Otherwise known as the Gold Abrogation Act. Stop listening. The joint resolution of Congress, June 5th, 1933. That's what we're looking for. You notice how it doesn't say House Joint Resolution? We're looking for joint resolution, abrogation, BRO. Okay. Notice how it doesn't say, now these idiots right here, House Joint Resolution. We're not talking about House Joint Resolution. We're talking about joint resolution. Okay. Not HJR. HJR is not a law. Shame on the people for, well, the courts. Ladies and gentlemen, the courts are what put that junk out there, not us. The courts had everybody going HJR 192. The courts did that, ladies and gentlemen, not us. Now, Perry versus U.S. is where they said it was constitutional. The act of June 5th, 1933, they said was constitutional. Stop saying public law. Public law is not law. Public law is public policy. Look at all of these HGR 192s. Do not use HGR 192. HGR 192 is not the law. Now, I'm clicking on this one because we're going to look at that. The Supreme Court explained exactly what joint resolution June 5th, 1933 was in several cases. They refer to it as the joint resolution of June 5th, 1933, insofar as it undertakes to nullify such gold clauses. That's not all it did, ladies and gentlemen. It was, pay attention, that such obligations in any coin or currency of the United States which is demanded shall be discharged upon payment dollar for dollar. Well, guess what? Your promissory notes are equal to Federal Reserve notes. Not hey, ladies and gentlemen, not my bad. Y'all need to pay attention. Not my bad. I didn't do it. So we got the Gold Obligation Act, and what we're gonna do dot PDF real quick so I can go on about my business. This one I know ain't it, but we're gonna go there anyway. And you see how it puts that 31 USC 463? Yeah, right. Like anybody cares. So what y'all need to do is pay attention to the wording of the act. It's not provisions of the gold clause that's important. It's any contract that has a provision that says somebody owes a debt. It says anyone who claims that somebody owes them a debt, that debt is discharged upon payment dollar for dollar in any coin or currency which is at the time legal tender. Ladies and gentlemen, discharged upon payment of a promissory note. Any note is the discharge equal to the value of Federal Reserve notes. Under the Federal Reserve Act, obligations that are deposited as security in gold for the notes are placed in the hands of the Federal Reserve agent. That's your even exchange, people. When you place it into their hands and you get the keys, that is your even exchange. You guys need to understand the Truth in Lending Act, and you need to understand this law. You notice we didn't read the whole thing because it wasn't necessary. I took you directly to the sections of law that correlates to this. Everybody and their grandmama, what? Have you tried it? Have you done this? Have you kiss? I'm sorry. Whew. Yeah, the group kiss. Yes, kiss minus. And if you say minus slowly and you add kiss at the beginning, then you understand what I'm talking about. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot help those who are stupid enough to think that everybody has to do something before they do it. So, let me show you how stupid is and stupid does come together, and they both live in the same house, eat the same food, and sip on the same cognac. Because I just told everybody I love smiling. So I'm going to go back and talk to Richard Pryor and Bill Cosby and Eddie Murphy, because we're going to sit up here and do as much coke as we can. Under the new law, the new money is issued to the bank in return for government obligations. What is the return of a government obligation? I told you the obligations are bills of exchange, draft, notes, bankers' acceptance, and trade acceptances. Why? Because that is from the people. Why? Because the credit of the nation comes from the people. So, what else is going to give force to the Federal Reserve notes, which have no value until they are accompanied by this credit that is associated with the notes, drafts, bills of exchange, and bankers' acceptances and trade acceptances? That's what y'all need to understand. That's what y'all are missing. Y'all are missing it. Y'all are missing it. Y'all are missing it. Now, as far as the remittance coupons, do your research on what a remittance coupon is. Do your research on how to present a remittance coupon. I'm closing all of this, so I'm finished talking about this subject. That's gone. Bye bye. Arrivederci. Adios. Sayonara. Okay, that's gone. That was only put there for you guys. Each one of those points, so that y'all could understand what the law is. Facing foreclosure, show that your promissory note was collateral and security and tender. Three different things in one. And when it's talking about tender, show them the June 5th, 1933 Act, which is the Gold Abrogation Act, which shows that your promissory note was the discharge, was the payment, was the legal tender authorized by law, authorized by Congress. When they say that's a bunch of bull crap, that's what those sovereign citizens saying, you'd be like, really? They saying this too? Man, they must be agreeing with Congress, because Congress is saying the same thing. Just that simple, ladies and gentlemen. And then fight. 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 All right, I got to go. It's been a long set of 2 weeks. A lot of documents that need to be proofed and read and corrected, and I got to get up early in the morning to start that all over again. So, got to let y'all go. But before I let you go, I don't want that. Y'all have a good day. All right? Arriba,